413-9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they'll get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WFLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. And now, the Gulf Coast's newest sports talk host.
Hey, there's the new guy.
Paul Wilson.
I'm sick and tired of carrying all the weight.
Paul is your pipeline to the heart of the action. Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
The product on the field is pathetic.
The Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What time it is. It's time for the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Thank you so much for joining us on this great and beautiful Tuesday here in Panama City Beach. It's exciting. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm glad you're tuned in. We're all tuned in and ready to go. As always on Tuesdays, I got my friend in here. We're going to call him the Pink Flamingo Jeff today. He got that nice looking, what would you call that color?
Orange.
That's not orange.
It is straight up orange.
That's not orange.
Yeah,
I'm not colorblind.
Sorry.
That's not orange.
I know you turn a blind eye to the volunteers, but this is orange.
Okay, well, at the break, I'm going to let you stand next to this Florida Gator sign, and I'll show you the difference between
now
orange and mauve.
You've already differentiated between puke orange and whatever that other orange you were calling us the other day.
I don't know. If you ask a first grader what color this shirt is, I believe he'd tell you it's not orange. That's for sure. And as always, in the glass bubble, we got the Bone Crusher hanging out, doing the ones and the twos with us. What's going on, Bone Crusher?
I am ready to plow forward and finish up this day strong, son.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, my God.
He's ready to go.
You just come from working out? Pumping weights?
He got creatine in his milkshake, and he is ready to go. Some pre-workout in the studio. Here we go. But anyway, good to have everybody here. Don't forget, if you want to call in, you can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Don't forget, also, you can check us out on the internet, that being Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of those things. ESPN Northwest Florida. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment. We're going to be talking about some stuff today that you're probably going to find interesting. We would like to know whether or not you agree with us, or we'd like to know if you disagree, because there's going to be some disagreement going on. Don't forget, at 4:20, Taylor Devers from the Chop Chat. those Seminoles getting the props on their AP rankings. We need to talk to some Seminole people. We need to talk to some non-Seminole people because this is getting ridiculous and it's about to make me mad up in here. Already talking about them Seminoles, and he ain't even on the show yet. But I don't know if you got to watch it last night. I got to watch it last night. What a game by the Bears and Minnesota Vikings. Looking at it, you're coming into this thing. You got Kevin O'Connell, an established coach, knows what he's doing with the offense, but you've got an unproven, I would still call him a rookie quarterback because he didn't really play last year because he got hurt. And so with J.J. McCarthy, and then on the other side, you got new head coach, former offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson. First game of the season for both of those. Monday Night Football, Soldier Field. It doesn't get any better than this. And when you look at it, that was the storyline coming in. What were the offenses going to look like? You got two offensive minds, two what people should call or maybe call, or at least I call, smartest men in the NFL. Very smart. Both of those guys. They know what they're doing when it comes to offense. And a little bit of a lackluster first half. Did you get to watch much of it? What'd you think about, let's go with the Vikings first. What'd you think about the Vikings as far as what they look like coming into the game?
It didn't impress me.
Yeah, not very good.
But you know why?
Why?
Because I turned the game off when it was 17-6, and then he scored 3 touchdowns in 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, well, I know that part, but just going into it, I'll be honest with you, J.J. McCarthy looked like trash in the beginning, in the first half.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he knew what was going on.
Third quarter included.
Yeah, he didn't look like he knew what was going on. He didn't look like anything was resonating with him. He looked confused. He didn't come up to the line. Remember, we talked about it yesterday a little bit about whether or not he was going to be able to come up to the line of scrimmage, be able to know what they're in, and be able to dictate what play they were going to run, if he was going to check out of the play that was called or not.
Yeah, and Jefferson was running around, and the most intimidating thing from McCarthy was that the
eye black.
It was a mascara. That's what I want to call it.
Yeah.
All the way down to his cheeks. I mean, to his jaw, the bottom of his jaw. And that was the most intimidating thing about McCarthy, I thought. But then again, I turned it off for those 3 touchdowns. So all the action.
Let the record show, if you're a man and you wear mascara, you intimidate the crap out of Jeff, just so you know. That's a good thing. I never knew that about you, Jeff. So, if you ever see Jeff at the department store and you're in the women's aisle and you're putting on mascara, ladies, you might intimidate him. Don't do that when he's walking by. So anyway, when you look at him, he didn't, he does that. That's kind of his thing. That's his MO. These guys, they try and
Caleb does fingernail polish.
And
we need a new sponsor. That's gonna be
mascara and fingernail polish needs to sponsor the show here at the Sports Blitz. But when you look at what they did in the first half, very unimpressive. J.J. McCarthy, a lot of people talk about how that at Michigan he really was just a game manager and handed the ball off to Blake Corum and Edwards, those guys, because they had a good line blocking. And he did. I mean, he did make some good throws, don't get me wrong. But just didn't really look good. And like you, I was just like, man, I was unimpressed. I was like, well, it looks like the Bears are going to be able to do it because they were moving the ball a little bit. They had pretty good flow at times. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's a guy that's going to get you those yards that you don't expect. He's going to be playing what I would call like backyard football at times. He plays like Johnny Manziel played at Texas A&M. But when you look at him, he looked like he kind of, I guess you could say just Ben Johnson's really been working with him.
It sounds weird, but I was impressed by the Bears, the way they scored the touchdown in the second quarter and went up 10-3. And I was like, oh, Bears have controlled this game. And I was like, oh, the Vikings got lucky with a 28-yard pass right before halftime, kicked the long field goal that barely went in. And I was like, oh, okay, it's 10-6, whatever. But that pick in the third quarter that the Bears returned, I was like, oh, wow. The Bears are really hyped up for this game. I think they're gonna win this. 11-point lead, and they had the ball, and that's when I turned it off. And Yeah. I had no clue that what was about to happen. And, I mean, we knew what the Bills did the night before.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of drama in the fourth quarter in the last 2 days in a row.
Yeah, 2 days in a row. Yeah, because everybody everybody talked about it. The Ravens, they were up. I mean, 4 minutes.
15.
Yeah, 15 with 4 minutes and 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
I thought it was 3:50.
No, it was 4:02.
4:02. Okay.
Yeah, it was 4:02.
Okay.
And they come back and won that one. And you're right. When I saw the pick, that to me, it was a really bad read. I mean, I watched a video with Peyton Manning talking about it, and he was like, if your defensive back doesn't take a step back, don't throw the ball. Like, that's, 101 playing quarterback in the NFL. That's what he said. And it makes sense because...
Okay, let's be honest. The first year that Peyton, when he was a rookie, that happened to him.
Yeah, he was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, and that's why, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I want to bring that back up. But when you look at some of the decisions and some of the throws, but it was written all over his face, J.J. McCarthy. It wasn't the mascara that I'm talking about, but what was written all over his face was the confusion. It was like the Bears actually were confusing him with the scheme that they were running, and he really didn't have anything to do but to hand it off. And, with having a high-profile wide receiver like he does with Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, and obviously they're down Addison right now, but when you have a high-profile wide receiver like that, you've got to throw him the ball. But you can't just force him the ball because you feel like you've got to throw him the ball. That's what they were doing. Yeah. And that seemed like it changed into the third quarter. That was when it was like, what is going to happen? And to be honest with you, the Bears and Caleb Williams just did not put their foot on the gas. It just seemed like they were coasting. They were thinking, okay, we figured them out on offense, and then boom, fourth quarter happens, and then now J.J. McCarthy starts looking like $1 million. I don't think $1 million, but he just made some good throws, and he had some players that made plays, and that's the biggest thing. But what's shocking to me is neither team rushed very good. If you look at it, Jordan Mason, they signed Aaron Jones to all this money. Now, he did have some good catches out in the backfield, but Aaron Jones was signed to all the money. Remember, he used to play for the Packers.
Yeah.
And he was their guy coming in, but he didn't carry the ball but eight times for 23 yards. And then you got Jordan Mason. He carried the ball 15 times for 68 yards, but that was it. I mean, and when you look at it, there's not a lot of rushing in that offense because, Kevin O'Connell, He really is a passer first type mentality. So you didn't think really coming into it that if J.J. McCarthy is going to be looking towards handing the ball off, he's going to be in trouble. But, I mean, it worked out for him. But if you look on the other side of it, with Caleb Williams, he went 21 for 35, 210 yards, 1 touchdown. And then he had 6 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown. So he led them in rushing, right? So that's what's crazy is that he led them in rushing, and then with the Vikings, they didn't really rush the ball very good either. But getting to the Bears, talking about the Bears, that to me is a big problem because you know how it is. You're going to need to run the ball, not by your quarterback, but by your running backs as you get into division play, as you push into those third and fourth quarter games. And see, I think that's the problem. That's where they run into their big problem is that they didn't run the football very well in that second half. And that way, that's how they were able to come back because they were throwing the ball more, which causes incomplete passes. What does incomplete passes do? Stops the clock. Yeah, so you don't keep that clock rolling. You don't keep the chains moving, and that's a big problem. So Bears fans, obviously, Caleb Williams looked better this year coming into it, the first game.
Which the Vikings are top 12 defense?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'd say. Yeah, I mean, they've got some good players.
Somebody say top 10.
Yeah, they've got some good players. I mean, they've got some really good players. I mean, former Alabama defensive end Dallas Turner is on that team. He's really good. So, I mean, you got guys like that on that team. Yeah. They've got some pretty good linebackers. But, I mean, you still got to be able to run the football, you know, even though we got a different type of offense.
So here's the irony is that they both ran it 26 times. and they have one more yard, 120 to 119 in rushing on last night's game as a whole. Yeah. But the problem is that when you have hot spurts and then you have cold spots,
right.
Your drive dies sometimes because you ran it twice and threw an incomplete pass and it's done.
Yeah.
And then they outpassed them, the Bears did, but they fumbled it once.
Right. That was a turnover.
A fumble is not as bad as a pick six.
Right.
Let's be honest. So the crazy part is if you're looking at the numbers, you're kind of like, oh, did the Bears win because they threw it for 60-something more yards? I mean, in essence, and then no, they lost.
And that's really where it's at because they didn't do what is really required to play winning football in the NFL. And that is what you said. You get your 3rd and 2s, you get your 3rd and 1s, and you're able to run the ball.
Exactly.
And that where you don't get put in a passing situation.
Yeah.
And so that's really what happened. And it seems like it. Yeah, if you look at the numbers, but it's always a telling tale when your leading rusher is your quarterback. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Lamar Jackson did it, but he's got no rings. But to play winning football, to play playoff winning football, to play games where, there's no possible way that when you look at this Viking-Bears game, there's no possible way you can tell me that watching that first half and then even watching the third quarter that the Vikings should have won that game. The Bears gave them that game. The Vikings didn't take that game from them. The Bears was really stagnant in their offense. And the thing is that's what happens when you don't run the football very well.
But do you think that the Bears were really motivated and then they kind of ran out a little bit of steam on defense?
No, I think they had too many. They had too many 3-and-outs. They had too many times where the offense stalled and they didn't get the opportunity to get over there and rest because you can't leave the defense out there and ask them to make plays. That was the biggest problem.
Well, that sounds like they pooped out.
Yeah,
to me. I mean, 3 touchdowns and 3 drives.
Yeah, offensively. Yeah, offensively. And see, that's why that's something that you're hitting a nerve right now. You don't realize it, but this is a nerve right here. What we're talking about because in all of the years that we ended up losing Alabama, losing the national title, or losing in the playoff was always because people said, oh, well, the defense, they're not as good as they thought they were. But if you look at the third quarter, we would have 4 or 5 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
And that was realistically what happened while Jalen Hurts got pulled as being our starting quarterback that second year following when Tua come in and won the national championship at Georgia was the fact that we couldn't move the ball sometimes in the third quarter, and then we would rely on our defense to make a stop. We would rely on our defense, and when we wouldn't make the stops, they're like, oh, what about this all-world defense? Well, the offense is sputtering, and that's what it looks like what happened with the Bears last night, and that's what's crazy. But I wanted you to think about, if you look at some of the things that they had last night, and it's kind of indicative of how the NFL has gone in week 1. Because if you had a guess right now, give me your guess on how many 100-yard rushers were there in this week's play of the first week of the NFL football season.
Well, I'll tell you what there should be, and then I'll tell you my guess of how many we had.
Yeah.
There should be 8.
Okay.
There should be 8.
Should be 8.
And there's 32 teams, so that's a third of the league, right?
Third of the league should have a 100-yard rusher on the team.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So what? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a quarter. 25%.
Right. Yes. 20. Yeah.
That's about around. That's like a nice number. So it's half the winning teams and maybe even one losing team. Who knows?
Right.
There's probably 4.
Yeah. Well, there's 3.
Oh.
There's 3 of them. You had 169 by Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne had 143, and then Breece Hall for the Giants had 107.
The Giants?
Or not the Giants, the Jets.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Okay, but the thing now think about this. The only team that won was the Jaguars.
Yeah. Who played an inferior opponent.
Right.
Who's ranked in the new rankings 31st out of 32. Panthers
the
are.
Panthers, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to say there has been, but
only the
they're
Saints
really
are
struggling.
Only the Saints are worse.
Thanks for reminding me. I already knew that.
But realistically, though, is the NFL changing? Because when you look at the way it's changing, but it's still, to me, it's still the reasoning behind why they lose ball games still, because they don't have the running.
I mean, look at Saquon Barkley last year. We're all still talking about it right now.
And I mean,
and you know who I picked last year to win the Super Bowl? Was the Ravens, because when I said the Ravens are this good and they're getting Derrick Henry, I said Super Bowl, and then they didn't do it.
Right, and that's the thing.
And that shows my respect, because I've grown up with great running backs, watching them.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, mainly.
And usually a good running game opens up the passing game. But even when you look at the Ravens, you got the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he rushed for 70 yards that first game. Wow. And he's the top quarterback rushing right now as well. But that's the thing, though. They lost. And you had all these rushing yards. And so it really, it's amazing to me, because Jaden Daniels and then Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts had 62 yards rushing, and Jaden Daniels had 68 yards rushing. So, I mean, they're still a nice little, numbers away from being 100, but I still don't believe I still don't believe you need your quarterback to run that much. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it is, I guess people probably can say tomato on that, but realistically, winning football, look at the years that teams won. Look at the Brady years. He had LeGarrette Blount. He had those guys running the football. You look at what Edgerrin James did with Peyton Manning when he won. Look at what you can go back even further. Look at Terrell Davis. Look at Roger Craig. Look at Marcus Allen, which those are longer times ago. But, are we into a place where no longer we're going to have running backs being the leader? But you go back last year, like what you said, and you say, well, Saquon Barkley, 2,000 yards rushing. But does that type of quarterback work with a straight back passer, or does he have to have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts? Does Derrick Henry work only when he has a running back or a quarterback that's like Lamar Jackson? Do those guys have that ability because of the type of quarterback they have? That, would Saquon Barkley work with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams? Yeah, because they can move in the pocket. But or even Josh Allen. But would that type of quarterback work with Brock Purdy? Would that type of quarterback or that running back work with, Matt Stafford? You know what I mean? Would those guys be able to generate that type of number with those kind of guys? Because with Stafford, he doesn't move much anymore. Brock Purdy, he moves only when he has to. Tua, he doesn't really move much. You know what I mean?
I mean, Dan Marino had 1,000-yard rusher his whole career.
Yeah.
That's sad. But who's one of my favorite, and that's, of course, I'm a Dolphins fan, so, I'm going to mention Dan Marino, right? But one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch that was mobile was Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
And I don't remember him ever having, a running back.
No.
No,
because Brian Westbrook didn't get there till after he was way gone. He was with Donovan McNabb. So when you look at those guys that are mobile back there, and which everybody's starting to be a little bit mobile. I mean, you've had Roethlisberger was mobile.
Mahomes is probably leading rusher 3 times a year. Probably.
No.
You don't think?
No. I don't know. He might be this year. But he hasn't. Yeah, because he hasn't been.
So we don't want to hit the panic button. This is week 1.
On what?
On a lot of teams.
Like who? Give me 5 teams you say don't panic, fans.
Well, Chiefs.
Okay, don't panic, Chiefs.
Bears.
Don't panic, Bears.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say them. I was going to say no. Well, I mean, you have to kind of hit the panic button a little bit on the Dolphins.
They're out. You got
because we were in a discussion today about the Dolphins, and, it was like, they're horrible. Well, they gave the game away in the first half.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so.
Who
else?
Let me think about who else. The Raiders won, right?
Yeah, what about the Cowboys? You got Cowboy fans listening?
I mean, they scored 20 on the Eagles' defense.
Without Jalen Carter.
on the road
without Jalen Carter.
The whole game.
That's a big deal.
I understand that. But Falcons, maybe?
Okay.
Who'd the Packers beat? Oh, the Lions, of course. You can't hit the panic on the Lions.
Panic on the Lions.
I mean, I was shocked on the rankings when the Seahawks came so low.
Yeah.
I thought that they were underrated for sure.
Yeah. So you think...
who else? No, the Giants are trash.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the Giants, and they're in a tough division, and the schedule might be a little light, but...
So we got like 2 minutes. So flip the script and say, what about... Now, name me 2 teams that won that don't, not so fast, my friend.
Colts.
Okay. And who else?
Maybe Steelers, because, they beat the Jets barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say those 2.
Well, I'm telling you this. You can say what you want to. We've talked about it, and Daniel Jones is going to have a good year. I told you that, and I know it's just week 1, but I told you Daniel Jones in a new environment, given the keys to the car, he's looking good. They scored on every single possession.
I know.
I get it. It's like it was against the Dolphins.
But it's only 7 drives.
Yeah, but... Who cares? He still scored on 7 straight times.
4 field goals and 3 touchdowns.
Never happened before, though. It's never happened.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but you also know what's never happened?
What?
A new quarterback with a new team has never thrown for 240 passing yards and 4 TDs and 0 interceptions in 60 years.
And that's what Daniel Jones did.
That's what Aaron Rodgers did.
Aaron Rodgers did it.
Boom. He's the first one in the last 60 years.
So you're not buying the Steelers, right?
Well, no. I just don't think that they're going to win 10 games.
So let me ask you this. If Tyreek Hill goes to the Steelers, would your mind change?
For 10 games?
Well,
no, maybe 10. Maybe 10, but
maybe
not
10 win.
Not much more.
Well, we'll see. But when we come back, we're going to be talking to Taylor Devers in the Chop Chat. We got to talk about all these Florida State football fans. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Text him now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Your home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Thursday night football is back.
To the end zone. He's got a touchdown pass.
It's the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. We'll have coverage starting Thursday at 6:30 from Lambeau Field. Kickoff at 7:15 right here on your home for the NFL on the Gulf Coast.
Packers on the board again.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Partly cloudy the remainder of the day with a wind coming out of the east-northeast around 15 miles per hour and 85. Tonight, look for a moderate breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 87 and mostly sunshine. Thursday, hot with a high of 88 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Got a scratch, dent, or full-blown wreck? Bring it to Recommended Collision Center in Panama City. From small scratches to all-over paint jobs, from fender benders to major collisions, it's Recommended Collision Center. They work with all insurance companies and offer customer pay options too. A family-owned collision center that takes pride in top-quality repairs, friendly service, quick drop-offs, and a fast turnaround. So when life throws you a wreck, they'll help you get amended. Recommended Collision Center, 1329 Jinx Avenue, Panama City.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Mothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Your 2025 Atlanta Braves are still grinding out the wins and making memorable moments for fans all across Braves country.
Swung on and belted, headed for the Braves bullpen, and gone!
Tonight, it's another National League battle for Ozzie Albies and the Braves as they look for a big win against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Braves taking on the Cubs. Pregame 6 o'clock. First pitch 6:40. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida airs the biggest games of the week from the SEC, ACC, and beyond. If it matters in college football, it's on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Back to the Sports Blitz.
That's right. You've tuned into the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad that you decided to be here with us because we're happy to be here with you. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're checking us out on the YouTube, or if you're just listening to us on the radio, we appreciate it. Don't forget you can call in, you can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. As always, on Tuesday, we got Chop Chat, Norvell Central, Taylor Devers here. Not in the building, but on the phone line. Taylor, how is your Tuesday going, my friend?
Wow. I mean, let's face it. Let's go ahead and get straight to business. Fire Billy was one of the most hilarious things all weekend, and I completely enjoyed it from start to finish.
Oh, man. Shots fired in the building already. You know, you got to say what is the biggest stories, and that definitely is a big story. And you know what, Taylor, I get it, man. I get it. It makes you feel good to pass that to somebody else, because if you don't forget, maybe we should kind of go back to memory lane a little bit. About 3 to 4 to maybe 5 weeks ago, we had you on for the first and the second time, and we talked about whether or not the seat of Mike Norvell is going to get hot. And we all said, yeah, you said no, and you were right, my friend. And let me ask you, though, I know we will talk about Billy here after a while, but let me ask you a question. Is Mike Norvell, after winning these 2 ball games, especially the Alabama victory, is Mike Norvell safe for the year?
Yes. Funny story is, I know coming into the year, I know some of the people in the administration, and they were all really optimistic about Mike Norvell. They saw the vision. They understood what he was all about. Unfortunately, he took a wrong path in the transfer portal. Obviously, it can burn you or it can revive you at that point. And Mike Norvell took a wrong turn in the transfer portal. He needed to have guys with experience. He went with more potential. Shouldn't have gone that route. He understood. He licked his wounds, and he went about his day. Now you have a fan base that is excited for the future of Florida State and is excited about Mike Norvell after a common theme along some of the fan base that said you needed to fire him. So this goes to show you what having trust in a head coach does for you and what a university can do if it has full support.
Yeah, and a little bit of luck helps you go a long way because you don't really know what you're going to get. You don't know how the players are going to gel. You don't really know if they're going to be able to match your scheme because realistically, he grabbed all those players really before Gus came along. And then when you look at when Gus came in, he runs a different style of offense, and it actually just worked out. I mean, you know, I don't know. Jeff, how do you feel about the Seminoles right now? Just tell me, how do you feel about the Seminoles, but also how do you feel about Seminole fans in general?
He's trying to light this firecracker over here is what he's trying to do. I have a couple of friends that are Seminole fans, and it's not just the fact that they're just running their mouth so much. It's just that the hate for the Gators, man. And I'm not trying to defend the Gators because they just lost to South Florida. But really the 2 talking points I want to say is South Florida is who should be talked about the most in this whole state.
And
whoa! Oh yeah,
in the whole state?
Heck yeah!
More than Alabama losing
Did they
to
not
Florida
just
State?
beat a playoff team in Boise State? Did they not just beat Florida Gators, who were playing at Gainesville? And I mean, I'm not saying they're a juggernaut. I'm not saying that the Gators are that, but they weren't supposed to win that game. I mean, we know one person that picked South Florida in that game, and everybody else just picked Gators, right? I did. I was wrong. I'll admit it. And look, the Hurricanes, I mean, week 1, they beat a team that was in a national championship last year, Notre Dame. And I know, different year, different team, blah, blah, blah. You know? I mean, I'm not trying well, no, let me go and knock it.
Go ahead. Go.
Did Florida State, they played East Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Do you know who that is? No, you don't know who it is, because you know why? They were called Texas A&M Commerce until November of last year. They just changed their name. Nobody knows who this university is until they stacked 2 teams at the beginning of the season, which was complete suicide. And you know, and I get Florida State beat Bama. It was maybe the biggest weekend upset for the first weekend. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. The hate for the Gators is just unreal.
I will say this, though. Gainesville is a very tough environment to play. I understand completely. But when Florida State in 2023, you lose a Jordan Travis to his catastrophic injury at that point. It was depressing. You have a Tate Rodemaker that come in as a second-string quarterback, goes into Gainesville, has to win that ball game to impress the voters with Trey Benson at running back with a couple of weapons they had. They went in there and beat them by 9 points. And Tate Rodemaker went to Southern Miss, didn't pan out at Southern Miss, went to Western Carolina, didn't pan out there because he's not really that great of a quarterback. And to have that type of quarterback go into that environment, as you say, it's hard to win there, it kind of makes you think. I mean, just a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm not downplaying South Florida and what their talent is, because they beat some incredible teams so far, but I do think that is something to kind of monitor. How tough is Gainesville?
Yeah, that's good. Let me go to the Facebook page real quick. One of our listeners, and I think, Jeff, he's talking about you. I'm sure. It says, haha. Neil Rivers says, haha, just say you hate FSU, bro. Are you really that clueless? Wow.
I mean, what's the clueless part? That it's not that I hate Florida State. That's not it. And look, props to Florida State. They beat LSU 2 years in a row at neutral sites.
Yes.
I mean, they can talk smack about LSU. I get that. But it's just that their hate for the Gators it's unreal. I mean, I don't know. You know, Auburn hates Alabama, right?
Right.
That's a hated rivalry. This Florida State thing, maybe I've just walked into the mouth of a Gator and a Seminole and just didn't realize how much hate there was between these two schools. And they're broadcasted. Seminole fans are celebrating that Gators loss like too much.
Yeah, so
I'm not clueless. I understand the Gators just lost. The Seminoles really do hate, but they were celebrating that loss more than anything.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So for me, Taylor, looking at Florida State right now, they are the up-and-coming team. I mean, they are. When you talk about up-and-coming teams in the college football world right now, they're up-and-coming. Do I think that it's going to last? I don't know. Probably not. But do I think that they're the up-and-coming team? They're definitely somebody to watch, and they definitely, with looking at how bad, to me, Clemson looked with Cade Klubnik, I think Florida State has a really good opportunity to keep it going and possibly find themselves in the ACC championship, which means one thing and one thing only. You win that one game, you're in the college football playoff, which was unimaginable from 2-10 from last year. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you agree with that, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I had this team going 8-4, and traditionally I thought they were going to lose to Alabama, so realistically, I mean, if you're beating Alabama, I think they're probably going to go about 9-3 right now. I had a friend, he's an Alabama fan, but he did say to me, Florida State is a playoff team. They will be in the playoffs. I thought it was a bit bold, just personally, because I think Florida State's got to depend on so many young guys. They had a graphic out on social media saying they played 17 true freshmen in the game this past week against East Texas A&M. I understand it's East Texas A&M, but that's a lot of true freshmen being depended on. Even in the Alabama game, and they had 8 that were potential starters. So having to rely upon those many youngsters is such a problem. I don't know if Florida State can handle that, but them being so much attention based on them is so important because they really need that culture fit that they had, because that 2-10 season was disastrous.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's what you always look at. But now we're in the new college football site. We're changing the game now with the NIL, with the portal, all of this stuff, this free agent market that is the college football playoff that has started to make these players be able to leave. You got good players coming from nice-sized teams coming to big markets and excelling because they've learned how to play the college game. Let's go to some of our YouTubers. Florida Phil says, I noticed Doc Ward has been MIA for all of this because he always trashes Florida State. So, Doc Ward, you're up, my friend, because Florida Phil just called you out. Also, the Gators, Florida Phil says, splitting lizards is what we call them. Or spitting lizards is what we call them. So, Florida Phil says that the Gators are the spitting lizards now. No more Gators.
So let's rewind. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. We all made our guesses about, and we're going to call them educated guesses, maybe at the most, right?
Yeah.
About who's going to make the ACC championship. And I believe Taylor said Clemson, Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. Are we going to change that now?
They're actually playing this weekend, so that'll be a good barometer.
Yeah, so they're playing each other. Yeah, so that's interesting right there. But they don't have conference losses because, there haven't been many conference games really at all really yet. But would you change that right now?
Not as right now, but if Florida State beats Miami, I would definitely change that.
Yeah, and that's 3 weeks away because you got Kent State and Virginia first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I picked Clemson and Louisville. And I'm more apt to change my answer from Clemson than from Louisville, to be honest with you. And that's pretty glaring. Now, Paul, you picked Clemson and who? Was it Miami?
I picked Clemson and Miami, yeah. Yeah, I thought Miami, after watching Clemson, if I could go back and change it now, I think it's either going to be Florida State or Georgia Tech. It really just depends to me. Georgia Tech is one of those teams that I think that they run the ball well. They don't throw it so well. But in those close games, like you saw with Georgia, their quarterback being able to be elusive as he is, he has the opportunity to do something that way.
So, Taylor, what would you think of if Florida State and Miami, of course, they play in the regular season, if they rematched in the ACC championship?
It would be really well. I think a lot of people are downplaying Clemson, though, because they had the game against Troy this past weekend. I understand that Troy was up 16-0 in the first half, but they're without Antonio Williams, who's one of their best receivers. He had almost 1,000 yards last year. He's one of the slot receivers they actually need in that offense. Now, I'm not saying that Miami's capable of doing it because, let's face it, they've only been to the ACC championship once in 21 years. So to say and to pencil them in is not even saying this as a Florida State fan, just saying this in general. They have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of expectations to fill. And while I do think that is a talented team, and that would be great for college sports to see Florida State and Miami face off against each other, again, there are two teams in Florida State and Miami. While it would be great, they have a lot of expectations to fill and get to that level, and I think they've got a long way to go before they can get to that point.
I don't necessarily agree with you, and the reason why is because if you would have looked at, even you yourself, you looked at your team 2-10 last year, changed the landscape of the players. Now you're looking at a possible 10-3. You're looking at a 9-4 beginning of the season, like you said. Upsets Alabama. This is college football that we've never seen before. I don't think you have to build anything. I don't think you have to get to a certain level. I think you can have the players and it all work and you gel and things work out and things to go good. Real quick, before we take a break, I want to hit Facebook and our Red 7T's phone line. We have a lot of stuff going on. One guy, Neil Rivers, he says, FSU hate for the Gators. Did you see how much pleasure the Gator fans got out of FSU struggles last year? You are right. You have no idea how deep the hatred is in this rivalry. It's not a one-way street. Josh Harley, what's up, buddy? Thank you for loving the show. We appreciate it. And also going to the Red 70s phone line. The Gators bring a lot of that from the Seminole fans on themselves because of the way that they've treated FSU last year and every year that they're down. The Gators are almost as bad as Alabama fans are on themselves. We got another one. I'm beginning to think Jetstream Jeff's favorite color might be orange. Go Vols. So there you go. So Jetstream Jeff in the house today. So it's awesome. Taylor, stick around. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this FSU Florida hatred. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Touchstone Service. The Red 70 studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290. Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
We spent so much of the offseason, anytime we talked about the Eagles, asking the question as to why Jalen Hurts was so low on these QB rankings. At this moment, it is more likely that Jalen Hurts catches up to Patrick Mahomes than it is Patrick Mahomes catches up to Tom Brady. That's where we're at right now.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Partly cloudy the remainder of the day with a wind coming out of the east-northeast around 15 miles per hour and 85. Tonight, look for a moderate breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 87 and mostly sunshine. Thursday, hot with a high of 88 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Falls loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join Sean Kelly and the rest of the broadcast team as they bring you Gator football all season long.
Quick race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football, the Gator Sports Network from Learfield.
The Florida Gators play here. Listen to select games on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Nah. We're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. This is the Sports Blitz. We don't just talk sports. We start fires. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. Also, don't forget, you also can comment on the Facebook page. You can comment on our YouTube page. We will be responding to you live and in person. We've got Taylor Devers from the Chomp Chat, Norvale Central on the line. We've got Jetstream Jeff hanging out in the CBC Construction Studio. Bone Crushers doing the ones and the twos. We're having a blast. Now, to get back to this FSU Florida hate. Now, I wonder, Taylor, when you look at the Gator fans, when you see that orange, when you see that blue, when you see those fans, how does it make you feel when they start doing the chomp? I just want to know, because I never really have asked anybody that before.
It's really disgusting. It's almost like you imagine like a guy walking down the street in some jorts, like, and you think, oh man, that guy really looks just weird, just off. There's something off about him, and that's the way I kind of feel about like even the color orange. I even hate drinking Gatorade. I can't stand it. Like why even bring that into your system? Like, it just feels like you got to throw up after. Like, it's not good, just not fun.
So it's worse.
Coach Odell, he talks about it. He's a Florida State defensive line coach, used to be played for the Seminoles. Every time a player brings a thing of Gatorade in the facility, he throws it right in the trash. Not happening.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've heard that about the Florida State, and I just wonder, maybe there's some Gator fans out there that want to chime in, talk about this a little bit, because I want to know what it feels like for them to see the tomahawk chop going on, because realistically, both of you guys have something that you do that is known nationwide, countrywide, statewide, all wide. You know, whether it's baseball, basketball, or football, both teams do something like that at all of their games, and that's pretty phenomenal.
So who's in the talk with that? Mississippi State's Cowbells?
Cowbells.
Who else?
I don't know.
That's it?
I mean, you got the jump around Wisconsin thing, but that's more about the stadium.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, I love the Virginia Tech Sandman, Inner Sandman. I love that intro song.
Yeah, but that's just a song, you know, and like at Kentucky, they play It's a Party, It's a Party. I mean, they do. Most people don't. That was when they made their big run.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's two big signature things. And the Cowbell's the only thing I think even can compare with those two things. You know, when he's talking about how bad they just look at Gators and all that, it made me think of wearing socks with sandals.
Yeah.
It's like, that's disgusting. Or, why do you raise your kid to be a Gators fan? You know? I mean, that's the kind of jokes that you would get from somebody like, why would you put them through that? You know? They make that joke about Bears fans too, you know?
Yeah, that's true. So, Taylor, you know, let's look at it. Let's be honest. Like, give me your honest, you know, vibe. If Tommy keeps playing the way that he does, do you think possibly we see him in New York at the end of the season? If the Florida State Seminoles keep rolling like they're doing, he becomes what you would call the dual threat. He's rushing. He's not throwing for a bunch of yards, but he's rushing a lot. He's throwing some. He's getting his touchdowns, whether it be through the air or on the ground. What do you think about Tommy's chances as far as week 2? I know we're just talking about week 2, but realistically, what do you think? What do you think about Tommy Castellanos looking for possibly being Charlie Ward incarnate?
I actually think there is a solid chance for him to do that. I mean, he's got to get a signature win. So obviously, you got to either beat Miami or you have to beat Clemson. Depending on what Clemson is at later in the year. Realistically, if you beat one of those two teams, or both of them for a matter, and his rushing total is maybe around 700, 800 yards, he's at 100 right now through 2 games. So if he has that rushing total up, he beats one of those rivals, and he gets everything done. I'm not even including those Gators because we're going to beat them at the end of the year. We're not even.
Oh, man, shots fired. So you think for sure that if he continues and they win one or the other, Miami or Clemson, and definitely beat Florida, that his name should be called if he continues. You know, that's the thing about it. Gus is going to keep his quarterback in there to do what he's been doing. Like, there's going to be more trickery. Don't be surprised by more trickery that he's going to do. Don't be surprised if you see Tommy Castellanos going out and catching a pass. Don't be surprised if there's flea flicker stuff added to what they're already doing. But don't get it twisted. Gus is going to run what Gus has been always running, and that looks like it's fitting in Tommy Castellanos' way of playing. And if he does that, there's a good chance, I believe, too, that he could do it. My biggest question is, the guy is little. If he gets hurt, that's the only thing, because in Gus's offense, and Nick Marshall ran into this, he was a little guy as well, and he got hurt, and it kind of had one of those little bit of lingering injuries, like an ankle or something like that, a little hammy. And the thing is, you got to be at your top speed to run that offense as far as running the football.
I will say this. I don't want to take a shot at Jordan Travis. He was a great quarterback at Florida State. But he had a lot of injury problems because he could not slide. There was times where he was going in, trying to get a first down, and you even saw it against North Alabama. He had to make a move with his legs. Unfortunately, had the tackle. That kind of messed up his leg. And there was a couple other games, too. I mean, he had Louisville where basically Tate Rodemaker had to come in the game in relief appearance and be able to make a comeback in that game. There was a couple of instances where I thought Jordan Travis escaped an injury that could have been catastrophic. Unfortunately, that kind of came back to linger him later on in his career. But Tommy has been a guy that, even though he's small, he's about a 5'9", 180, 190, somewhere around that range, and he's one of those guys that's shifty. He knows when to slide. He knows when to get down. He knows when to fit between the coverages. And Gus talks about that in his press conference. I mean, it is a guy that's very elusive, hard to bring down, just can't take a sack right away. I'm not saying he's got the gaudy passing numbers, because the passing numbers may not be there in terms of winning a Heisman, but contending for the Heisman, I think, could really be able to be an effective weapon for him and a goal that he can actually attain pretty easily.
One of our listeners, Matt Jones, said signature win. He just destroyed Alabama. So he thinks he's already there as far as the signature win on that. And I get what you're saying. I agree with you. But when you look at it, it's going to be one thing and one thing only as far as these late year awards, and that is, are you winning football games? And let me ask you, Taylor, would you rather Tommy Castellanos, and you could probably ask him this question, would you rather win the Heisman and just be able to have a winning record, or would you rather be in that college football playoff playing for an opportunity to win a national title?
Well, I mean, I know Tommy seems like the arrogant type. I understand that. His comments where, Alabama can't stop me, Nick Saban can't be saving them anytime soon and stuff like that. He's even got T-shirts out if anybody wants to go buy one because, like I said, they're $31.17. Just saying about the score. They're out there, so if you want any, it's there. But Tommy is a very confident kid. He loves the confidence. But he also said in an interview with some of the Alabama players in the preseason, he was trying to hype that game up. He wants to uplift his teammates. He wants to allow them to have that confidence in themselves. He cares about his teammates way more than individual awards. At the end of the day, he wants to win a championship. He wants Florida State to bring back from the dead, basically, because Florida State was in such a dump last season that you got to get back to that point of being respectability. Florida State has a standard. The standard is winning conference championships, competing for national championships. So I think that is something that Tommy wants to do in that sense. Now, will they? I have no idea. That's a big wild card in all of this. But I do think Tommy would much rather win a national championship than win a Heisman Trophy.
I think that goes pretty much for anybody. I mean, including Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels would give his Heisman up for winning a national championship. But losing, heck no. Final Four, heck no.
You know what I find is funny to talk about this real quick? I wanted to bring this up not too long ago, but Scotty Scheffler, the golfer, he said he'd give up his Masters if the Dallas Cowboys just could win a Super Bowl again. He really said that.
A long time.
So really, when you look at it, when you talk about it, you want to see wins coming for the Florida State Seminoles, and that's what I think the fans want to see too. And it's looking really good. The one thing about the Florida State Seminoles that scares me as far as moving closer is that, teams might start loading the box on them, might start challenging Tommy Castellanos and seeing if he can actually stay in the pocket and pick teams apart. I know the wide receivers did well against Alabama. I know that things happened where it looked really good, but as the season gets going, as it kind of goes along, people will start pulling those safeties down. They'll start running more in the box, and that's going to be where you see if Tommy can make the throws, because there are throws that you have to make. And I know that he made some of those against Alabama, unfortunately, but you've got to consistently make them whenever you're seeing a bunch of pressure in the pocket.
I will say this, though. You made kind of a good segue there. Mike Norvell actually discussed in today's media session, speaking about wide receivers, that Wayne McCoy, he's actually a sophomore wide receiver. They were very high on him last year. He was a high four-star commit out of Miami, and he was just a great get for Florida State in the recruiting cycle. He kind of injured himself later in the lower body for the camp, and they were unfortunately not able to have him against Alabama or against East Texas A&M. But he did say he had a lot of practice experience this week, so that added another weapon to an already team full of wide receivers that are capable of making plays. So just Wayne McCoy is just a guy to watch out for in the next couple of weeks, especially getting into conference play.
Yeah, playing Gus for all those years when he was at Auburn. Don't forget, too, there's some magic that happens when he calls plays, and I hate it. I can't stand it. I still don't want him to wear the hat. I don't care if he beat Alabama or not. I still don't want to see that stinking hat on his head. But I will tell you that Gus, for whatever reason, I don't know if you remember whenever Auburn was playing Georgia, when Andy Murray was there with Georgia, that happened as well. But when we come back, we're going to discuss more about all of this. Plus, we're going to talk about them Gators and them Hurricanes. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Are you sick of the old sports talk? The vanilla opinions? The polite debates? The hosts who are afraid to say what they really think? So are we. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is bringing the house. It's the new Sports Blitz.
Weekdays, 4 to 6.
We're starting arguments, not conversations. The Sports Blitz.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Partly cloudy the remainder of the day with a wind coming out of the east-northeast around 15 miles per hour and 85. Tonight, look for a moderate breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 74. Tomorrow, a high around 87 and mostly sunshine. Thursday, hot with a high of 88 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose, hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, the best place in town to take a leak.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your 2025 Atlanta Braves are still grinding out the wins and making memorable moments for fans all across Braves country.
Swung on and belted. Headed for the Braves bullpen and gone.
Tonight, it's another National League battle for Ozzie Albies and the Braves as they look for a big win against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Braves taking on the Cubs. Pregame 6 o'clock. First pitch 6:40. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. The Sports Blitz.
Woo! Welcome home, baby.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You've made it to 5 o'clock. It's Tuesday, and you're done. Now you can listen to the Sports Blitz on the way home with Paul Wilson here, and we're having a great time. We've been discussing some big-time stuff that's been going on between these Gator fans and Seminole fans. It seems like that now the Gator fans are getting some of the love that the Seminole fans got last year when the Seminoles went the dreadful 2-10, and now the seat of Billy Napier is getting very, very, very hot. And everybody in the state of Florida and around the country is talking about it. Don't forget, we've got Taylor Devers on the phone with Chop Chat Norvell Central. He's the big Florida State insider, and as well as having Jetstream Jeff with me today. He is not necessarily an insider on anything, but he's not really feeling the Florida State Seminoles right now. But when we look at it, guys, I agree with you, Taylor. It's going to take another win. You say, man, in a season that you have a victory, not just a victory, but realistically a dominating game against a top-tier opponent like Alabama. When you look at that on your resume, should that be enough? It really can't be, just because it's the first game of the season and you have to beat the people that are in your conference, because the out-of-conference, it does matter for the style points. But you got to win your conference. You've got to show, why the committee needs to pick you if you don't win your conference is because of the wins that you have in your conference. What do you think about that, Taylor?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I kind of worry about, and I'm so glad this isn't a thing anymore, but having to deal with the BCS era where basically you had one loss, and if you got two, you were pretty much
done. Yep.
I mean, it is a ridiculous story back in the day, and how far we've come into that. Now, I'm not a huge fan of having 64 teams in a playoff. I don't really think we need to expand it and keep expanding. Unfortunately, money is money, and money talks. So obviously, there may be some more moves that we're going to have there. But hopefully, college football can kind of stay in this kind of parity type of situation where there's a lot more teams that are going to be able to get involved there. But, just unfortunately, Florida State's got to win a couple more games. They have to beat the rivals. I mean, obviously, the biggest talk is going to be, Miami, Clemson, and Florida. I mean, you have to beat a couple of those teams to be able to be competitive, to have those bragging rights, to win on the recruiting trail. There's so much at stake that Florida State, not only in a playoff perspective, but just in an overall mindset of how the season's going to go, is hinged on those three games.
So 2 years ago, who did y'all open with the season to win?
You talking about LSU?
Yeah, LSU. Yep. And you beat them by 3 touchdowns?
Yep.
That was a beating.
45-24.
Yep, that was a beating. And 14 points to Bama is not as big as 21 on LSU. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but let's get back to what you're saying, and I agree with you on that. But when you look at it, if you beat those 3 teams, you're inevitably in the college football playoff, unless North Carolina State and Pitt. Mm-hmm. So that's really the teams that you can't stumble on, because you're going to have, what you get when you get North Carolina State, and you know what you get when you got Pitt. But it does matter where you're playing, because inclement weather can affect you in Pittsburgh for sure. And then North Carolina State, they kind of get a little rowdy over there with the Wolfpack stuff going on. So they're not someone that you can really just overlook. And so really this year's ACC, as much as I hate to say it, it's not as weak as it has been, even with a Clemson. And, you never know about Clemson, whatever you want to say. I mean, they played like garbage last weekend against Troy. But if this actually takes root for the ACC this year, and you have a down Clemson team, and then you've got all of these ACC teams, you got Miami, you got Florida State, Louisville. You got these teams that are looking, Georgia Tech, these teams that are looking good, that have played Clemson tough, but Clemson always just found a way to beat them. And now you've got a Clemson team that's not looking so good. And is this finally going to be the year that all of those teams that struggled against them are finally going to get them back? And then now, who are you looking at? To me, as it sits right now, those 4 teams kind of they have the upper hand in the ACC right now, and it depends on staying up and staying ready every week. And that's the big thing about learning how to be a champion. That's the big thing about learning how to be a winner is that you can't allow yourself to dip. Now, losing to Alabama would have started the season off bad, but going into and beating Alabama, now you've got the momentum. But even if you did drop one of those games, say you lose to a North Carolina State, say you lose to a Pitt, but I agree with you, you need to beat Miami. You need to beat Clemson. As long as you can beat those two, and if you did drop one of those other games, you would probably be okay and still be good to go.
I'm hating to disrespect this one, but we're not talking about SMU anymore because they lost to Baylor. And what, they lose by two points?
Because they're trash. Because they're not good.
Go back to the bus. You cannot miss 4 field goals in a game.
Yeah.
That is rough.
And then NC State did not look good against East Carolina in week 1. And then I think they won by 7. And then they beat Virginia by 4, who couldn't score in the second half. So now we got an NC State team that's finding ways to win close ones.
I just don't understand. I understand, and I understand completely with the hate against Clemson. Clemson's an easy team to hate. Dabo, just look at him. They go around in a bus, on a school bus, come up to the top of the hill, and then touch a pet rock at the bottom of the hill. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. They're orange too, so they could go on somewhere too. But realistically, you look at Clemson back in 2016. They beat Troy by 6 points. Troy scared them on the road, just like they did this year. Not to that compassion, but same thing. They ended up winning the national championship against Alabama later in the year. It can happen.
No, it
Things
cannot.
Like that happen.
It cannot happen. And let me tell you one of the reasons why it can't happen. Trevor Lawrence is playing in the NFL. Cade Klubnik is not an NFL
That was Deshaun Watson.
Was it Deshaun?
16, yeah.
Okay. Well, Deshaun Watson, he's in the NFL. He's way better than Cade Klubnik. I don't believe in Cade Klubnik. I don't know who their backup is, but I'm telling you, if they stick with this guy, I thought against LSU, he looked terrible, but even still, he looked worse in Troy. He looked worse against a team that shouldn't even have been on the field with them as far as their 5 stars.
Yeah, Goose Crowder is not a very good quarterback for Troy. I'm sorry to say it. He had 3 interceptions in the game, and they were bad interceptions too. They looked pretty rough. So, there is definitely not an exciting group of bunch. When you don't have receivers that can really get open, and your best receiver out there, it's fine.
Yeah, I think we're losing you a little bit. But I agree that when you look at how Troy played against Clemson and having, really not playing good, but still being up, that was the biggest thing.
I was still worried after they settled for a field goal right before half to make it 16-3 at halftime. I was still worried that Troy was going to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah, it still was in, you wasn't sure whether or not Clemson was going to be able to pull it out. You didn't really feel confident.
No.
I know there's not a lot of Clemson fans in this part of the country, but realistically, to get through the ACC, you're going to have to go through Clemson most of the years, and this year it might not be the case.
And it's funny because, 12 years ago, it was all Florida State. That's all we were talking about. And then with Deshaun Watson and then Trevor Lawrence, and even after that, you're talking about Clemson being, the gatekeeper.
Yeah, because he started recruiting the way that he recruited was not just secluded in the state of South Carolina. He started getting out into
Georgia.
And then his connection to Alabama by being a player there, that really opened up his avenues.
I think for the health of the ACC, they need a little bit of parity where there's going to be different schools that are going to win. And actually, Clemson beating SMU in the ACC championship last year, even though they put 2 teams in, I get it, it kind of hurt the conference a little bit.
Yeah. Taylor, are you still with us? I just want to make sure on the line. I don't want to cut you out, but you were breaking up a little bit. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Okay, good. So when you look at that schedule, I know we've talked about it a little bit. Would you think that the schedule leans more in your favor, knowing that you have some of these games at home, is that really where your solace is as far as feeling good about the schedule this year?
Personally, I do think so. I mean, realistically, the first 4 out of the 5 games are going to be at home. Obviously, you got to win the Virginia road game, but, I mean, having Miami at home is massive. I know that environment over there in Coral Gables is not very good. So, I mean, it's hard to really, brag and have everything about being undefeated when you don't even have a home field advantage. It's not LSU we're talking about, Jeff,
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you this. Like I told you the last time, whenever Notre Dame came to town, I don't know what they did. I don't know what they changed, but it looked different. It felt different. It looked different, and the Hurricanes showed up and showed out. I mean, there's hardly anywhere where you can go in a college football town and not see the U. I mean, they're everywhere. They are everywhere. They travel, but they're everywhere. And so, really, Miami fans, they believe that this year is their year as well. You're not the only team, because when you look at it, they beat the team that played in the national championship last year. I get it. It was a different team. They had a new quarterback, C.J. Carr. I get it. But I'm just saying, this is something that's going on in the ACC that we haven't seen in a while. Miami feels like they have a shot not to just win the ACC, but to actually win the whole thing. Florida State, whether Taylor agrees with it or not right now, there's hope amongst the Seminole fans that this is our year, that not just making the playoffs, but actually winning the playoffs, because that's something that hasn't happened because of how good Clemson's been. And when you look at it, Clemson's not the Clemson of old. They look like there's some cracks in the armor, and this is the time for these other teams to come up and show out. And, I mean, that's really the thing. Jeff, right now, if you had to put one of those teams in the college football playoff, who would it be? Would it be Florida State or would it be Miami?
Oh, man. My scare about Florida State is that if Tommy goes down and then the end of the year they're playing at NC State and at Florida, and I'm not saying that those teams are beating them, but they could be a trip-up game, especially if you look past NC State at the Gators at the end of the year. It's a toss-up, complete toss-up between those two teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask you for that. I asked you
to
want
pick.
Me to pick one. I said pick one. I didn't ask you to toss it up.
I mean, Miami beat Notre Dame. I mean, and the sad part is there's a chink in the armor there because they were up by 10 points in the fourth quarter and let Notre Dame tie it up.
Yeah.
And they had to score again to steal the game back.
Yeah, so you got the possibility of an injury for Florida State, and then on the flip side of it for Miami, you don't know if you believe all the way in them yet.
Exactly.
But if you had to, if you had to pick
I'm gonna go Florida State.
Florida State.
You know why?
Because Taylor's on the phone.
No, because Miami hasn't won anything since 2002, and even in that year they lost the national championship because part of it was stolen by referees for Ohio State. And the sad part was I was actually pulling for Ohio State that game, which is very unusual for me because I don't like dynasties, and the Hurricanes going for back-to-back.
Yeah, well, we got to go to the Facebook page to look at some talk here. We got wait till Florida comes to town to Miami. And then another comment was home field advantage for Miami. How did that work out for Notre Dame? Good point. And Miami at home, forget about it. Clemson on the road and North Carolina State on the road is tough. But Miami, listen to this part, Taylor. What you think about this? Miami is built better than Florida State in the trenches.
Let me say this. Miami fans have a lot of optimism about their team. They're literally building a soccer stadium in the city of Miami because they have so many plans about their football stadium and their football facilities and everything like that, but they're still playing in a rented-out stadium. They construct a roster that is supposed to be on paper great. They're not. Mario Cristobal is a great recruiter, but the problem is Florida State has done a tremendous job this recruiting cycle with recruiting defensive linemen. I think with Kevin Wynn and also Darrell Jackson, I think that is a better duo than what Miami has on their defensive line, defensive tackle-wise.
So that's what you're going to live with on that. And that's the key. Mm-hmm. You can think about it all you want, but at the end of the day, your defensive line, the games, as they get longer, as they get tougher, you've got to win in the trenches and know that what Gus is trying to do, he's trying to get that running game established every single day. Every week that they play, he's wanting to impose his will on that defense and make them be confused, let them be out of position, and that's where Gus can really get you. So when you look at that, that's where it's got to be. Let's move over to some of the other stuff that's been going on, and we've got to talk about it. We can't not talk about it. But let's talk about these Florida Gators. I mean,
I thought you were going to say South Florida.
Well, I mean, it's coming. It's coming soon. And really when you look at it, guys, the Florida Gators just is having a big-time struggle. And I thought for sure, I said it, I made a mistake, I was wrong. When I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But I had no idea that Florida was going to play like that. It just seemed like it wasn't that USF was like just magical. It wasn't like they just, outplayed them. It was the fact that Florida made so many mistakes. Mm-hmm. DJ Lagway didn't look good at all. He did not hit his wide receivers. He looked uncomfortable. He did not look good in his system. Some of the play calling was suspect for sure. And then now you've got undisciplined type stuff happening where you got the spit gate going on with them. That was a huge part of the game. That was a 15-yard penalty.
Okay, but no.
Yes.
Look, I know it's a 15-yard penalty. I understand that. And we're looking at this game, we're saying it's a 2-point win. No. With like 4 minutes left, they kicked what could have been a game-winning field goal, South Florida did, and they missed it. So even if you take away the 15-yard penalty and the kick at the end, if that other field goal had been made by South Florida, they would have had the lead. And what did Florida Gators do? They didn't try and put the game away after they got the ball back after that missed field goal. This game was, I don't want to say not as close as a 2-point win, but kind of. It was.
Yeah.
South Florida deserved this game.
I mean, they did try to let them kick like a 57-yarder?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was pretty mad. I mean, I understand their kicker is really, really good. Mm-hmm. That's a tough ask.
Mm-hmm. Under the pressure of 4 minutes left?
Yeah. When you look at it, they got serious trouble in Gainesville, and everybody has been talking about it. And when we come back, we are going to talk about who is going to be the next Florida Gators coach. You've been listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
The Red 70s studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, clear and a low of 74 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the east-northeast. Sunshine tomorrow morning, a moderate breeze and quite warm near 83. Mostly sunny and 88 in the afternoon and evening. 88 and sunshine with a gentle breeze Thursday. Friday, sunshine and a temperature about the same at 90. This is your Tuesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party. How'd you get your money so quick?
Hard Rock Bet's got lightning fast withdrawals.
Almost as fast as Dale Jr. valeting cars at this party.
Man, he's fast.
Hard Rock Bet's fast withdrawals have given me new motivation. Tips are appreciated.
Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Roll with us. New players bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Payable in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Klinger, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you. Serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
Your 2025 Atlanta Braves are still grinding out the wins and making memorable moments for fans all across Braves country.
Swung on and belted, headed for the Braves bullpen, and gone!
Tonight, it's another National League battle for Ozzie Albies and the Braves as they look for a big win against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Braves taking on the Cubs, pregame 6 o'clock, first pitch 6:40. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio, the new Sports Blitz.
Oh, yes!
Rants, hot takes, and huge reactions are incoming on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can always text in. You can call in 850-215-6290. Maybe you're driving home and you want to give us a little bit of your opinion about what we've been talking about. We would love to hear it. Also, you can go to our Facebook page. You can also go to our YouTube page. Whatever you like, you can do all of the above. We appreciate it. If you do go on that Facebook page, why don't you give it a like or a comment or a share? Any of those things are appreciated. We like to get this show out there so people can hear what we think about what's going on with NFL, college, and Major League Baseball, all of those things. Now, we've got on the phone, Chop Chat, Norvell Central, Taylor Devers, Taylor, Billy Napier. It's not a good day. It's not a good week. It's not a good look for the Florida Gators. This is where college football has taken us. We are no longer in the times of going and sticking with a coach and going through the ups and the downs. We're no longer in the college football where you have, you know, a guy that's going to stay with you and you put up with 4 or 5, 6 losses in a year in multiple years. We don't play that kind of football anymore. It's win now or go home. And so what do you think? Give me your honest opinion about Billy Napier and the direction of the Florida Gator program.
All I have to say as a Florida State fan, so Florida embarrassed us last year in our home field, 31-11. Had 8 turnovers. Our roster is filled with true freshmen. We didn't really give ourselves a chance, kept turning the ball over. It was just an embarrassing performance. After the game, Florida players started to plant the flag at midfield. Norvell did not like that, not one bit. Had the trigger fingers up, was like, get off my field. Nobody wants to be around here. He hates Billy Napier. You can clearly tell it on the side of his face. I hope that Billy Napier makes it to November. I hope that Florida State is able to absolutely destroy them before they fire him at the end of the year. But unfortunately, I don't even think they get to that point because they have 6 opponents in a row that I think they could probably lose 4 out of the 6 games with. So realistically, with the future of Florida football is not looking great. It's always going to be an SEC program, so obviously they might still get a head coach that might be decent. But Billy Napier doesn't look to be the answer there, and it just looks like a mess, just waiting to forever continue to spiral out of control until they finally pull the plug and end the misery in Gainesville.
Yeah, and that's a big deal because there's a lot of fans. I talked to fans last year, and I've talked to them this year. They're different than last year. They're no longer on the whole, we need to, see what he's going to do. It's win now or you're gone tomorrow. It's no longer this, let's wait around and see. Let's give him a shot. Let's give him enough rope to hang himself with, basically. But it's really getting to the point. Florida, who do they have this week?
LSU. In Baton Rouge. At nighttime.
At night. So what do you think? What do you think, Jeff, is going to happen?
We're going to beat them.
And how bad?
10.
Really? Just 10? You don't think it's going to be a blowout?
No, I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
So do you think he keeps his job with a 10 loss in LSU?
For now, sure.
What do you think, Taylor?
Let me make a bold prediction here. I think Florida actually pulls the upset this week.
Wow.
Right before he spirals out of control, I think it gets better 1 week, and then I think it goes right back downhill again.
What do you think it's you think it's going to be an Oklahoma loss or just a Texas Longhorn just pound them out?
Pretty much pound it out. I mean, it's a team made of glass. You know, they have to find a way to win,
man.
obviously. Run the ball. Got to grind it out in a game where DJ Lagway is going to have to probably play the game of his life at that point. He's probably going to have to run a little bit too. I think they can manage to pull it off because they do have the talent. But the problem is I just think they have to be able to run the ball and basically make sure they eliminate turnovers. If they do that, I think it's doable.
One of our listeners on Facebook, Josh Harley, he said that LSU is going to obliterate Florida. Now, with that being said, we're going to go to our Red 7Ts phone line, and we are going to talk to Gator Jamie. Jamie, are you with me, my friend?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on? Tell us what you think, Jamie.
He's got to go. He got to go. That's all I can say. I was on the train last year with him. You know, let's give him a chance. You know, we finally got a quarterback. Let's give him a chance to see if he can do something. But man, I'm just so tired of watching our ball team play, and we're every big play called back because we get a penalty. Every time we make a stop on defense, it's a penalty. Substitution penalties. You know, 12 men on the field like 3 different times in the fourth quarter.
Do you think he's not just so stern? Do you think he's not stern enough with the players, or do you think it's the type of players he's recruited?
No, I think it's a disciplinarian problem. I don't think the players have any fear from him. Maybe they don't respect him. I don't know. He just seems like a nice guy. Like he's a nice little chummy guy. You know, even in the interviews they said, you know, what's your big plan, Coach? How are you going to get these guys to play better? Oh, yeah, we're just going to get these guys a chance to play.
So it's lip service.
We're just going to let them play out there. Well, what the hell does that mean?
That's right. Coach. Yeah. Well, Jamie, let me ask you this. How long have you been a Gator fan?
I've been a Gator fan since the mid-'80s.
Yeah, so you know what winning football looks like.
That's before Spurrier was coach.
Yeah, Galen Hall, I think.
Galen Hall, yep, I remember him. So
I'll tell you how I got a good story how I became a fan. My dad, y'all remember the Blue-Gray game in Montgomery, Alabama?
Oh, yeah, yep.
My dad got us tickets, and it was played on Christmas morning every year. And it was for the teams that didn't go to a bowl game. It was like an all-star game for them.
Yep.
And one year we went there, he got us tickets, and we went there, and it seemed like the whole one side of the field, they had Gator helmets on. And what it was, the Gators were on probation.
Oh.
And so they couldn't go to a bowl game, but all their players were going to the NFL because they had all the talent. They had that was when Wilbur Marshall was playing there. So I asked my dad, I said, what's in blue helmets? I like those. And he was a big Alabama fan.
That's a good man right there.
He said, that's the Gators, son. We don't like them. And I said, I like them. I think I do like them. And that's how it started.
Oh, man. So you just broke my heart because I love your dad. I mean, you got to I don't know if he's still around or not, but he needs to call in the show if he is. But either way, so that was a great story, though. I remember those games. Those were cool because, you know, they would always have those on TV, too. That was really cool. So you say, Jamie, we should. Yeah, they played at the
Legion Field.
I thought it was at the Crampton Bowl.
Oh, really?
Crampton Bowl, that's right.
Yeah, it was at the Crampton Bowl.
So there were 3 All-Star games back then, and that East-West
Shrine
Bowl, the Senior Bowl, and then the Blue-Gray game. Yeah.
Yep.
I do remember those. And you know what? There were star players in that. Dan Marino was in the Senior Bowl, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, there's a lot of stars that were in the big games like that. Let me ask you a question quick, Jamie.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about John Gruden, your new coach?
Hey, at least it'd be interesting. At least when they interview him, he'd be interesting.
You're right about that.
You know, I'm not against John Gruden. Honestly, he's a football guy. I don't know if he's going to handle the press conferences with the university setting. It's kind of liberal and kind of soft and squishy.
Ooh.
I don't know how he would handle some of that stuff, but you know, they're going to ask him questions about the emails he's got and all that stuff. So,
no. yeah, you know that's right.
But I've got a suggestion for a coach, and just going to throw it out there, and I'll let you guys answer. I'll jump off here, but he just retired. He won a little bit. Nick Saban in Gainesville. Let's go.
Oh man, thanks for the call, but absolutely not. If he does that, my heart would absolutely break. So thank you for the call, Jamie, man. We appreciate you listening, my friend. Thank you always. You're always welcome to call. But man, you know what, guys? You know, a Florida Gator fan from the 80s picked him on his own, and he's saying enough's enough. He doesn't want him to coach anymore. That's it. He's done. He's done. And how many more Gator fans feel that way? Because you don't have a lot of windows when you get star players now in the NIL era that we're living. You've got to keep those players. DJ Lagway, regardless if Taylor says he's made of glass or not, he's a quarterback that people want. And if you change the coach, if you don't get a good coach to come in that connects with those players, you're going to find yourself a new quarterback. And what happens when you don't have a good quarterback? You lose ball games. The only way you can play good and the only way that you're going to win football games, especially in the college game, is that you got to have somebody that knows how to play the position, but also can adapt to your system. We got it very clear with Tommy Castellanos. With the way he plays football, it fits Gus Malzahn's way of calling plays. What did you think about what Jamie said, Taylor, about they need him gone and they need him gone now?
I really think that this is a prime opportunity for them to get a guy that you need in this Florida Gator system. The thing I want to ask y'all is, would a Lane Kiffin be the best option there?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think
no, and they would trash him across the whole conference because you know how Tennessee already hates him. I mean, that'd be a third SEC team he's going to.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Orgeron was at Ole Miss too.
Yeah.
But, you know, the hate for him is only sporadic here and there, where Lane Kiffin, some people still hate him.
They do. But I think, you know, a lot of people are talking about John Gruden. A lot of people believe it. One of our listeners on here, Zach Pierce, he says Urban Meyer needs to come back to Florida.
No.
So there you go. There's a lot of names being thrown out. Don't forget, you got Jimbo sitting in the wing. Now, Taylor, being a Jimbo Fisher former fan, because he was your head coach, you had to love him.
Yeah.
What would it do to the Florida State faithful if Jimbo came and went to the Gators?
They would already hate him enough as it is. Now, granted, Jimbo can recruit Florida like no other. So if he did go to Florida, at least there's going to be one thing that's true. If Florida fans hate their recruiting class right now and the way they're recruiting in the state of Florida, I promise you, as Jimbo Fisher has done all his time at Florida State, where he's dominated Miami and Florida Trail, it's going to happen again. So do you want to pay him that 10-year, $75 million deal? Probably not. But Florida State fans would definitely hate Jimbo even more in that case.
We're getting some more feedback online. I'm an Alabama fan through and through. I wish we could hire Chucky to coach at Bama. Don't get me wrong. I like Caleb DeBauer, but I'm not solid on his coaching style for the Tide.
You know,
so there you go.
Vegas needs to lay odds on all these SEC teams and whether they're going to have a coach at the end of the year, because they're talking about everybody.
Well,
I mean, what's next? Beamer?
Yeah,
you know?
he's coming back.
It ain't Kirby Smart. That's the only one that's not losing his job for sure.
Yeah. Well, Lynn Haven Rob says Jumbo to Florida. So Jumbo, whatever you want to say on that too as well.
Where's Bo Pelini?
Not coming to the South for sure. But yeah, this is very interesting because you do have all of these coaches that are older now. You got Saban, you got Urban Meyer, you got Jimbo Fisher, you got Coach Orgeron. Now you got, Gruden putting his name in the hat. You got all of these coaches that have success at places that they've went. extent. And you got these desperation of fans that want a good coach, and they know what they're going to get. They know what their type of style that they're going to bring to their team. And you got to think that the Florida Gator fans are reeling right now because it doesn't get easier for them. Their road is so hard. It's the second hardest conference or second hardest schedule in all of college football next to Oklahoma. And the real reason that they put Oklahoma ahead of them was because of the Michigan game. And I don't know if Michigan's even that good this year.
If Michigan falls apart and South Florida keeps winning, then we could be looking at Florida at the end of the year where they're saying the strength of schedule is now number one.
Yeah, and when you look at that, that's the other thing about it. As the season goes on, you look at the games that you thought were going to be tough, that they may not be tough, and then the games that you didn't think were going to be tough, they are tough.
Hey, let's talk about something real quick.
Yeah.
Ohio State's number one, Penn State's number two. I thought that the way that Oregon won this last weekend and LSU did not win, I thought Oregon was going to leapfrog all the way to number three. They only went to number four.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Big Ten have a 1, 2, 3. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do that. The only reason why they kept LSU there was their win over Clemson at Clemson. They felt like that was a bigger win, and I agree.
Oh, but they beat Oklahoma State. And I know Gundy's not like what he's used to be, but I can't remember the final score. 77-3.
Yeah, it was bad. Well, Gundy was running his mouth, and that was the problem. Yeah. That's why they ran it up. But when you look at that, let's just, we're going to talk about this, Taylor, but we're going to talk about it probably on the next segment. Nope. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about it right now. I do vaguely remember last week we were talking and we were picking games, and we talked about Duke versus the Illinois, as I call them, the Illinois team. But I'm telling you, who told you that Illinois was going to kick Duke's teeth in? I believe it was me, but I can't remember. We may have to rewind the tape. But how did you like how Illinois went into Duke and destroyed Duke? Now, that probably kicks Duke out of your even worry about them being anything in the ACC this year.
The thing that kills me, though, is Illinois scored actually 17 points in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was 28-19, and instead of kicking an extra point, they went for two. What is the point in kicking an extra point and going down 8, still being one possession? No, let's go for 2. And then as soon as that happened, Illinois goes off and gets 17 straight points. I mean, I couldn't draw it up any worse. I mean, Manny Diaz is a good defensive coach, but what are you doing out there? I just don't understand it. I don't get it. You're at home. Take the points. Maybe that's a learning lesson that everybody needs to know at this point in college football. I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
Well, it definitely got out-coached, and I know that on Thursdays, Chef Ross, he hates to hear me say it, but Brett Bielema, whether you like him, whether you don't, he is a good college football coach. Yeah, he made he tried to get in the SEC at the wrong time where they couldn't really make anything go down there at Arkansas. But realistically, if you look at him, what he did at Wisconsin, what he's doing at Illinois, he's a good football coach. And Duke, they need to stick to shooting basketball in Cameron Indoor Stadium. But I just wanted to throw that out there, Taylor. You missed that one, my friend, and I told you so.
But let me ask a question to Taylor, though. We'll forget about Duke and Illinois because we just squeezed that in on you, and that's the only pick you had last week.
Oh, yeah.
Because we knew you were going to pick Florida State against East Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But last weekend, I mean, like Iowa versus Iowa State, was there a game last weekend, any game that you can pick where you were, like, upset that it went a certain way?
I mean, other than the Duke game, I mean, not really. I thought it was kind of the way I thought it was going to go, to be completely honest. Someone was going to come up flat early on in the game and then kind of readjust. I didn't really think they were going to.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, but we will be going into our next break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss what Miami and USF look like coming into this weekend. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your college football headquarters for the biggest and best games of the week.
It's a touchdown!
Huge rivalries and your favorite teams in the SEC, ACC, and beyond.
It's a miracle!
The Gators, Hurricanes, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Notre Dame play here.
Unbelievable!
The Gulf Coast headquarters for college football is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, clear and a low of 74 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the east-northeast. Sunshine tomorrow morning, a moderate breeze and quite warm near 83. Mostly sunny and 88 in the afternoon and evening. 88 and sunshine with a gentle breeze Thursday. Friday, sunshine and a temperature about the same at 90. This is your Tuesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The Rich Eisen Show.
When the rubber meets the road in must-win contests in January, I think the Chiefs make it, and I think the Chiefs win it, and I think that's the way Kelsey is going to stroll off into the sunset to his wedding day. Chiefs over Lions in Super Bowl 60, and they're going to make 6 and 7 years, and they're going to be a dynastic team we talk about for years to come.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Weekdays 11 to 2 right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your 2025 Atlanta Braves are still grinding out the wins and making memorable moments for fans all across Braves country.
Swung on and belted, headed for the Braves bullpen, and gone!
Tonight, it's another National League battle for Ozzie Albies and the Braves as they look for a big win against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Braves taking on the Cubs. Pregame 6 o'clock. First pitch 6:40. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. Your favorite team is garbage.
Dallas? I don't want you going to Dallas at all.
And we're here to explain why.
That place is crawling with crackheads and debutantes, and half of them play for the Cowboys.
It's time to take out the trash on the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate you listening. You can call in. You can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. I'll tell you this. We got people watching. Seth on YouTube watching in San Antonio, Texas. Says, go Noles. The Gators are in big trouble. I agree with you, Seth. Man, you are correct. All the way over there in San Antonio, loving on the Noles. We still have Taylor Devers from Chop Chat, Norvell Central on the phone line. Taylor, we got to dive into this. USF versus Miami at Miami. I know you don't think it's very rowdy down there, but I will say home field advantage, 3:30 kickoff down in Miami. What do you see happening between Carson Beck going against Byron Brown with the Hurricanes playing the Bulls.
Side note comment here. Is this the biggest CW network game in the history of their network?
Was Gilmore Girls on CW? That's the biggest thing since Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally watch Gilmore Girls and then turn around and watch a Miami football game. What more can you ask for? What more American can you get than that?
Oh, man, what's funnier is the fact that Jeff knows who the Gilmore Girls are.
I have 2 daughters.
Yeah, that's right.
I also know what Grey's Anatomy is, too.
Oh,
apparently.
Gross. Okay, here we go. So, wow, I know the hate is real. So what do you think, though? Do you think South Florida is looking good? Are you thinking that, are they going to be able to make this weekend number 2 of upset for the Bulls?
As much as I hate Miami, as much as I want to see them lose, that spread is like 17.5 right now by most odds makers.
Oh, my God.
That is a brutal spread. And I think they're seeing something that we're all seeing, too. It's like a South Florida team that's running out of gas. I just don't know if they have the potential to do that right now. And I don't know if they're going to be able to stay competitive in this one. As bad as I hate to say it, and this grosses me out, I'm going to say Miami wins by 21 points.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so we'll put that down. We'll make sure we mark that one down.
What do you think, Paul?
I think Miami is going to hold the line. I think they'll have trouble stopping the run because when you watched Notre Dame coming into the game against Miami, you saw that, yes, they were able to stop the run, the majority of the run, and they put the game on C.J. Carr's back. But one thing you didn't notice that C.J. Carr could do was he wasn't very elusive. Byron Brown is elusive, so I think he's going to give them an opportunity to make some plays, to get some explosive plays, maybe plays where the pocket breaks down and he gets out of the pocket and makes something happen. So I think it'll be a close game. I don't think that spread's going to hold tight. I don't think they're going to win by a lot. I do think that Carson Beck is going to show his arm talent again, and I think that the Miami is going to eventually pull away in the fourth quarter. But that's just I think Carson Beck's the real deal. I really do.
I think Miami by 14. I don't think they're going to cover the spread. I think 17.5 is a lot.
That's a lot of points. And it just makes me wonder, what Taylor said, they know something because usually they're not that bad off.
Well, the quarterback is leading rusher last week.
Yeah.
And he spread the ball out to 8 different wide receivers. He better be using all of them.
Yeah. And, I mean, when you look at Carson Beck, I know you wasn't high on him coming into the year. After seeing him the second time, obviously they're played Bethune-Cookman, so they're not, a big caliber type team. But, I think Carson Beck has put himself in an opportunity that at the end of the year, if things go well for the Hurricanes, he could be talking about being in New York as well, Taylor.
I could see it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, though, he has to be able to have those weapons step up. And if you're not stepping up in some of those weapons, it can be kind of ugly. I mean, South Florida gets a big hit or something, gets momentum, it can be kind of dicey.
Well, Seth Bullock on our YouTube page says that USF pulls off the upset 24-21. So Seth believes in the phenomenon, which is the South Florida Bulls. And so, hey, that's the deal. A lot of people are believing in these guys. And you know what? They're believing in themselves. If they come into the game and they keep it close, don't think that they're just going to roll over and die because they believe they can win. If they feel like they can play with Florida, if they feel like they can play with Boise, and then coming into Miami, what's the difference? Hey, we played with those guys last week and the week before. We can play with them now. So realistically, South Florida's got a lot of momentum going in. Miami's got that veteran at quarterback. I still think Miami's gonna handle them. It might be something like a field goal or something, though.
Taylor, there's not three openings for ACC quarterbacks in this whole talk. Miller Moss from Louisville and then King from Georgia Tech are the other two. I mean, so now we're talking about 4 different quarterbacks from the conference, and Cade Klubnik is not one of them for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
He could be. I mean, you also have to think about C.J. Bailey from NC State as well. I think he's also another quarterback that can kind of make some moves. They get kind of hot later on in the season. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Hayes King because Georgia Tech hosts Clemson at 11 o'clock this weekend. I wanted to see what y'all thought about that because realistically, King, now think about this. He's 24 years old. Mm-hmm. So he's an older guy. He's older than some NFL starting quarterbacks. And don't forget, I'm a big guy in believing of the fact that if you have an older established quarterback, you're going to do well in the college game and even in the pro game. But if you look at it, he's 6'3", and he had no touchdowns versus Colorado. All right? Wow. But check this out. As far as throwing touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But he ran 19 times for 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wow. So you see what I'm saying? Like, if you stop him from running, then there's this chance that you're going to stop the Georgia Tech. What are they, the Blue Jackets? What are they? Yellow Jackets. Okay, yeah. So either way, how do you see this one going, Taylor? Do you think Klubnik finds the juice and comes out and beats Tech at home?
I think it could go one of two ways. Either Clemson gets down really, really early, fast, and has to battle back, which I don't think they're successful in doing so, or Clemson comes out motivated with Antonio Williams who's coming off of injury and succeeds and dominates and gets back on track. I think it's the latter. I think Clemson is going to be well enough in this game to be able to handle the adversity of an 11 o'clock game. If it was a Georgia Tech game late at night, I wouldn't trust it. But with 11 o'clock, I think their attention, their focus is going to be on Georgia Tech, and I think they're going to get the job done.
Well, when you look at our Facebook page, Christopher Multiconte, your favorite fan, he said that Miami will win 41-10 over USF. So there you go with that. You know, when you start talking about these guys, you know, I mean, I just believe it. Lynn Haven Rob texted in, if Beck stays healthy, Miami is going to be tough for anyone to beat. So I don't know. We'll see about that one. I agree with you. I think that, you know, Clemson will find a little bit of mojo, but I'm telling you, Taylor, I believe that Clemson is not the same Clemson of years past. So when you look at Clemson, we've got to, I know it's kind of like looking at a Saban-less Alabama team. You can't go off of last year's news. And I'm just telling you, Cape Klubnik is not the guy. He's not going to do very good unless he just runs, because that's really what his thing is. So possibly we could have, now I'm not talking bad about Tommy Castellanos, but this could be the highest rushing yards by the quarterback game that we might see in the ACC this year with Hayes King and Cabe Klubnik, because both of them love to run the football.
Let me say something a little off topic here, but I know how we talked about the basically the Miami game last week, you know, with this week with the CW and everything. Do you know who the CW matchup is for the next week?
Who?
It is Georgia Tech and Temple. So make sure you don't watch it the next week. Let's go ahead and just go past that real quick. If Georgia Tech gets to Clemson and you got to watch Temple and Georgia Tech on CW, a ranked Georgia Tech team, that is going to be disgusting.
You know what? The good thing about it, Taylor, is that all these fans that are listening right now that are fans of the U, they're really going to love you next Tuesday, especially if Miami comes in there and dominates USF.
Look, Temple's 2-0, and they killed Howard. They killed Howard last week, which is the worst team in their little bitty conference. They're in I think the Lehigh Lafayette conference with Bucknell and all that. That's premium smart kids up there.
Oh man, I just can't get over. You know, if you're a Miami fan, Taylor really thinks that primetime CW is where it's at. So Gilmore Girls, Grey's Anatomy, and Miami Hurricane football. What a combination.
Bingo. I think I hit all my things.
But yeah, when you think about it, real quick, want to tell someone else. Seth Bullock says Tommy Castellanos for Heisman. So you got some Florida State fans that are believing the hype. Taylor, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you calling in. And you know what? Here in Southwest Florida, there's some people that really don't like you, and that's okay. And you know what, though? But that's what it's all about, my friend. And I do think that Florida State wins. I think Miami wins. And I'm just ready for the week that Miami and Florida State plays.
And LSU wins, right?
I don't know. Not so fast, my friends. We'll see. But either way, if you look at Florida teams coming into this year, it's a definite good year to talk about them. Now, football, not so much, but college football for sure. Not NFL, I meant to say.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you look at all these things, you got to know, Taylor, that realistically, if Clemson leaves out with a loss, we got to say that Clemson is bye-bye, that they're done. Dabo's going to be done for the year. I don't think the college committee will be able to save them. Do you?
Dabo to Florida at that point.
Oh, man. Traded his orange and white for orange and blue. I don't think that would be good. Either way, we appreciate everybody that's listening today. And if you're not, get back on here and start listening. Next week, we'll talk to Taylor, see what happens with all of these games he picked. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN. We'll see you tomorrow talking Tennessee and all the other SEC.